Hey everyone, welcome back to another Got Something for You. Today, Ollie and I are joined by a very special guest, the second most famous person to eliminate an Abraham. We have Tiffany from Survivor 41. Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Thank you. Thank you for
Look,
having
I got
me.
the Brit to laugh.
I finally got it. I finally got it.
It's
That's like,
it's
oh.
bad. Poor Abraham, and I love him. So, it's like killer to me when looking back, it's like it works at the moment because he threw my name under the bus. But to be fair, I love him, and I don't know that I would have eliminated him if I knew what I knew now. But we love that Abraham anyway. But at least I have a claim to fame, so I'll take it.
There's something, right? And I gotta say, we know that he loves you as well. So
Aw.
not to, we're gonna cross that line now. I know that Phil will be joining us shortly. He's here as well, but I'm excited to talk to all of you about this Zac Brown Survivor special.
Oh boy. That's a big oh boy.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. I want to say a special hello to everyone in the chat. Lexa, thank you so much for you got it started before. Excited for Tiffany. She's the best.
Hi,
is
Alexa.
live.
I know her. I know Alexa.
And also Roy Jolly. Good to see you as well. Gemini, great to see you. Thank you for joining. Good afternoon to you too. So I'm excited to get into this episode. And why don't we just get on started after the elimination from last week, right? So we have Steph, who's was on the outs, and now everyone is like, "Oh no, you're fine. You're not on the bottom. It's fine."
Yeah, no.
Yep.
You go, Steph.
No, you go ahead. I'll follow suit.
No, I was gonna say it. For me, the interesting part here was like, I think I'll give Stephanie a little bit of credit. Like, she did do kind of a great job at kind of just like being chill about it. I feel like we've seen before when Stephanie's on the bottom, she can kind of freak out. But I feel like this time we didn't see that. We saw her remain cool, calm, and collected, which I do appreciate. It was more so, I didn't put the slide in, but we more kind of saw Ozzy being like, right, we did what we wanted. Now, basically, like, I need my comeuppance. Like, I need everyone to hold up their end of the bargain and like go for Angelina. Like, we'll probably talk about it later, but he really had a little this rivalry between him and Angelina. I want to know what the one-sidedness is, because it's clearly all Oscar.
Yeah, I saw that he seemed annoyed actually that it went this way. Hi, Phil. He seemed a bit annoyed, and he's looking to get Steph out. Not really happy that Angelina out, not Steph. And is ready to cut her. But now that Mike's out, I feel like, in Survivor, this is usually what you see when one part of the duo goes. They say that they want to break them up and then use them as a number. But really, like, it usually ends up being like, okay, Mike went. Now we're going to lose the next one, which would be Angelina, which was sad. But, that's kind of how it goes because it's just kind of the easy vote.
Do you feel like we've been sort of seeing some easy votes? I mean, I don't mean to say that based on who's been out, but I do like for the past couple of tribals, except for the one that we're about to see this time, have all pretty much been unanimous. Yeah. Do you think that's the case, Tiffany?
I feel like we've been seeing that for a couple of seasons now. Maybe I'm overthinking it because I wasn't as big of a fan as I am now, so to speak, knowing the underworld of Survivor. I never really watched for the edit to see what's going on. Like, I didn't watch like that. I watched like a regular viewer that wouldn't know any of this underworld that we're all sort of part of. But knowing what I know now and how they sort of edit things, I feel like I'm not really so great at always being right with like who's going to be voted off next. And I'm trying not to get spoiled because that's going to really annoy me because that just makes watching it so much less fun. Agreed. But I feel like I have been right on for the last 3 times. And it's kind of just making me think, well, I sort of don't want to see Angelina go next, but I feel like if it's going to follow suit, we're all thinking the same thing. And that kind of makes it a little bit less exciting when you're watching and it's kind of going the way it would go in any game, right? You see one person go, the duo, okay, well, let's just not focus on anybody else. Let's just get the next person out. She's no good for us. Like, let's just get rid of her. And now she's angry because, Mike's gone and that's like her appendage, right? It's like part of her. So yeah, I'm thinking that she's next, and I'm thinking we're seeing a lot of pretty easy votes. Not my favorite. Not my favorite.
Agreed. And Phil, welcome. I'm glad that you're here to talk about this episode too. We spoke before earlier in this week, and I'm just excited to hear some of your thoughts for this episode. But we're coming off of last week's Tribal. How are you feeling about this episode?
Yeah, a little late to the party here. How you doing, everybody? I think, just in the conversation about easy votes and unanimous votes, obviously, this is the first Tribal where we see, us veering to the left here. And we have a little bit of we have a 3-2-1. And I think that we see why we've been, tribes have been trying to have these clean votes, because people are coming back. Oscar feels like he's been slighted. He's been left out. Angelina is likely going to be pretty upset with Christian. It is, easy votes are safe, and it makes it easier to come back from Tribal, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah. And being out there, I'll tell you, there's nothing worse than, when looking around to see who's in trouble, when you're sitting out there and there's a safe vote to make that you're not going to be in, and it's so easy as a player to be like, okay, it's not my name, good, let's do it. That's one more day that I get ahead. So as a player, it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, as a viewer, it's not as fun, but at the same time, I guess that really depends on what side you're angling for, right? So, you probably have a lot of people that are like, oh, good, let's go. Like, let's go newbies, or whoever you're in, trying to side with. But this one left a few folks pretty upset on both sides. So we shall see what happens, but I'm with you. It's pretty predictable.
And I love a lot of the conversation that's also happening in the chat right now. Roy Jolly reminds us that Christian worked to keep the tribe solid, which is reason for why there's been so much unanimous voting. Dua Idol says Ozzy's hatred for Angelina seemed to come out of nowhere. And then Lexa providing some professional feedback. I work as an editor, so it's really hard to not watch it from an editor perspective. But Tiffany, your season had such a unique edit since you guys had a hidden winner. Every season is different.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, our season was really an anomaly. Season 41 was, we really got like a pretty poor showing of people who loved the season. And I think it was because it was so new and different that people weren't they were just not as on board as they would be now. I think if they went back and rewatched it, I keep saying, go back and watch 41 again, because us not knowing really made it a little chaotic, which is really what's fun about Survivor. And when you have all these people that are fan favorites and crazy super fans of the show, you have such strategy out there that it's really kind of difficult to throw these players that much anymore, because it's some variation of what we've seen, right? So she's right. It was a very unique take on our season. People were very floored by the winner. And of course, there's the politics that goes on within the people that are playing, right? That you don't see, just like you feel like Ozzy is and Angelina's hatred came out of nowhere. I mean, that could be years and years of a lot of, conversation or what's going on underneath from their seasons. So of course, that's something that if you're not a huge super fan, wouldn't really know, nor would I, but you can understand that there's social media out there. So we are all connected, right? All players have either met each other, have spoken on text or whatever it is, where seasons before you didn't have that. So when you saw them seeing each other on the beach, they really had no connection, right? And now it's very different. So it just brings a whole new perspective to the game and also to the editing. And right, to credit the editors is very difficult when you have so many people that are, intermeshed from preseason, not just pre-gaming, but knowing each other. So
yeah,
I was going to say pre-gaming. I know this happened during this season because I got tea on that. They definitely pre-gamed. They pre-gamed.
Plus, I will say also the fact that with it being a returning season after 10 seasons, there's no more focusing on the I can't believe I'm here story, because it's kind of like everyone's already been here, everyone's done it. There's a different, like you said, Tiffany, a different perspective. Now, I did like that. I didn't love, but I know that they threw everything in the kitchen sink at all of you on 41. So you had a lot to work with on that season. And we got a talent show this episode. How did everyone like some beach entertainment?
I thought this was really fun. I feel like we always talk about how we don't see enough of the camp life, and I feel like we actually are getting to see some of that this episode. It is funny how this dovetails into Charlie not liking Rizzo
so
more,
funny.
which is crazy. Just when you think
Yeah.
that couldn't be more hammered in, it is. And I want to hear more about that. I mean, Tiffany, does that surprise you? This grudge coming out of something that happened on his season? Would you have that? Do you have like a version of that?
We do. So what's interesting about that is, yes, we don't get to see enough camp life because remember, we're out there for so many hours. We're doing ridiculous things. I mean, my season, we started singing and had a little band, me and Evie, and you see it on like a private screening, they show you those extras, but it's really fun and funny to watch like some of the things that happen that because you're so bored out there, right? Sometimes it was very fast season. 26 days is fast, but you have a lot of hours out there to entertain yourselves. And this is really funny because they are just there's so many characters in this particular scene that are just so like silly and out there that, it's just funny to see what we see as players when we're out there, the ridiculous stuff that we do. But the Charlie and Rizzo thing, like that hits me because I know Charlie was really, really hurting from his season and what happened. And, as a player, that's $1 million, and that is when you get to that spot and you find yourself with your number one ally not voting for you, that really is something that you're going to hold on to. And some people just do not feel the need to let it go because quite frankly, like I've met you for 26 days and you were my ride or die for those 26 days. So that was really upsetting to him, obviously. But at the end of the day, you don't owe each other anything it's a 26-day relationship, right? It's like the shortest relationship ever. It's a massive trauma bond and nobody will understand it. And you do feel like you know these people forever. Even the new players, when they meet each other, we feel like we know each other because we've all experienced something that so many people have not. However, that doesn't mean that it takes away from that anger that he has. And now hearing that little tidbit that Rizzo did something similar, right? That just sent him in a direction of, oh, I'm not doing this again. Because how many players come back and their story is again the same thing over and over again, right? And that was what we were seeing with Mike saying, oh God, is this going to be the end? I'm going to fall on my sword for Angeline again. And right. Or even Hubicki with Gabby. So you are who you are and you tend to fall back on the same things. And so it's really hard to fight against that. But when you hear it that distinctly, somebody say he did that, he was like, and he hadn't seen it yet. He was like, oh, hell no. We're not doing this again. And I'm going to let out all my anger on you and focus on you. So let's see. Rizzo has a very charming way of getting into people's skin. So I think, maybe he'll be close to Charlie, or maybe he'll turn around and axe him first. So we'll see. But yes, we have versions of this. Lots of them. Yep, we do.
I did love at one point Rizzo. Rizzo at one point said something along the lines of like, each time I play or every time I play. And I was like, buddy, you basically have only still played once. Like, it's incredible.
And also he said like being such a good player as I am. Listen, I love the guy, but
confidence.
Yeah, strategy wise, okay, I'll give it to him, his personality, right? I'm like a Rizzo, but I even fancied myself maybe a little bit even more athletic because I did do some good stuff on my season athletic, right? I know. The bounce beam was a little bit of a disaster, but I digress. But with him, like, it's more just really personality, right? And it's really funny the way he like sees himself. Like I'm Suri, just in Rizzo's body. I've been here so many times, and it's like, ooh, I don't know, bad omen.
Yeah, and the only thing more dangerous than Rizzo's idea of being RIZGOD is Rizzo with an idol, which we know these boomerang idols are here on the beach. Ollie, what did you say?
Oh no, I said we will get there when it comes to Rizzo and getting another idol.
We will get there. Who is searching for an idol here?
This is Aubrey.
Oh, there she is.
Remember, Aubrey went out and Genevieve comes out calling her I think, as Aubrey described it, like she's in the Alps.
Yeah, hysterical.
It is a really funny scene, and again, it's just like hammered in these two not getting along. Tiffany, are you as surprised at these two not getting along as I was? I felt like these two would get along for some reason.
Yeah, I am. I feel like they're like not similar, a little similar, like a little bit of the same kind of personality-ish kind of person.
Mhm.
But Genevieve this time is a little more confident, I feel like, and like less afraid of being disliked and more out there. I feel like to go out there and just genuinely start screaming somebody's name like that. And it's like a newbie versus somebody who's been there before, right? You're like, and Aubrey just calls it out, which is hysterical. She's like, really? You had to like call me out like that? But like, what else do you think we're doing out there? Of course we're looking for idols. Of course we're doing this stuff. It's not a secret. But like the level of, you know, I'm not going to use a bad word, but the level of like, in Yiddish we say chutzpah, to call somebody out like that, it's kind of like, oh my God, like that's
the
bad.
cojones.
Right?
The cojones were big on that one.
Right. It was
I
like,
appreciate
takes a
it.
lot of those. Right. It's the same thing.
I have another question. I have another question for you, Tiffany, too.
Huh.
This is the second tribe that Aubrey's on where it feels like she is just at the bottom. But then you think about it, this is also the second tribe that she's on where Genevieve is here. Is Genevieve poisoning the water, or is Aubrey putting herself at the bottom? What do you think more is going on here?
I think Aubrey's pretty smart strategically. I think she's like super, super bright. I think being on the bottom is not always the worst because you're sort of overlooked, right? And you're sort of like, we can always vote her out. When that, you know, if you got to strike at the right time. But if you're on the bottom at a certain time of the game, which like right now is okay, I feel like she's kind of okay with being there. She's accepted it and is like, okay, I'm on the bottom, so use me as a free agent, you know. And when you're on the bottom, people are pulling for you because they need a number. Somebody needs a number, right?
Sure.
And Genevieve is sort of, yeah, she's poisoning the water, but she's also making herself a target at this point doing that. So I'm not sure that is the best idea for her, and if that's going to keep her around so long. But you know, we'll see. I don't know that I would have been that vocal about. Well, you know, I wouldn't have started something quite like that so early right now. I wouldn't have, but maybe she's doing something I don't, you know, we'll see how that plays out. But I think Aubrey knows she's there, and I think she's kind of comfortable there for now.
It's so frustrating to me because I am so team Genevieve in this situation, but she's making it very hard for me to be team Genevieve with the strategy that you're outlining there, Tiffany. I totally agree. I mean, Lexa in the chat says, I think Aubrey is one of the only people from her era of Survivor. While a lot of people are super old or super new school, I think that's why she's having trouble finding allies.
Yeah. I mean, I think Aubrey's one of those people also that's like a late bloomer in a game. Like she may not be able to like get her footing with the people, but when she does, she's like a dark horse kind of person. Like she will come from behind and, you know, make you love her, which is, you know, and I love Genevieve too. I think I love her. I really do like her. But I don't know if this is the best move for her right now. That would be my my thought at the moment. But I mean, again, we'll see Wednesday what happens next. You know, you don't know. One little thing happens and that's just shifts everything, right? You can rub somebody wrong. You could love the person and then they do even look at you the wrong way out there. And you're so angry and emotional and paranoid that can shift everything. So it really is a moment-to-moment thing when you're out there, which is why I think it's so difficult for editors, because if the show's going one way and all of a sudden you find this like rivalry over, you know, in my season, Shan asking for a bite of, Ricard asking Shan for a bite of papaya or whatever it is, right? And he was like, what? You know, or she was like, what you just ate, whoever it was, I don't remember, one or the other, but that like really changes things out there. You think it doesn't, but it does. I had a few of my finest moments were the most unknown conversations that led to me being voted out that night. But really, it was just one person holding a grudge against me and having a bigger group. And that really messed me up. But that's what happens when you're out there. That's why it's so hard to like really know where things are going, even episode to episode.
It's a great point. And
Sometimes.
you just got me thinking about, we're also covering Australian Survivor. And someone on that beach quoted Shakespeare or decided to, do some Shakespeare for their tribe. And that painted a target on his back just because no one wanted that type of entertainment. Right. You know what? The only thing powerful? I don't know what that transition was supposed to be, but Genevieve finds the idol again, but it's the second time and she can't use it. How, Tiffany, how annoyed or frustrated do you think you would be if you find two idols and neither one of them is yours?
So if I'm with this is the Billie Eilish, right?
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay. I'm frustrated as can be, number one, because that's your life out there. And finding an idol is so life-changing. But with this being the type of idol it is, I'm immediately thinking, who the heck is definitely going to be out next that I can give it to so that it comes right back to me immediately? Because the second time, no. The first time, give it to an ally. The second time, it's like, find somebody who's getting the hell out fast that you know is going to be axed. So that's coming right back to me, because that is the most frustrating thing to be out there. It's hard. You can't imagine how hard it is to find an idol out there. I mean, we walked around and around and around. I was right in front of it. Like, it is mind blowing how difficult that can be, because it is so much stuff out there. Like, and everything looks the same color. I couldn't find my water bottle half of the time because it like camouflaged with the scenery. I was like, where's my water bottle? That was the joke of the season. I lost my water bottle. And no, it's right there on the, like, so can you imagine finding this like light brown thing that sits within the trees? It's very difficult. So when you find it, you're so pumped. And then you're like, oh, I can't use it. Like, how much does that suck? Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, she must be like really like, oh my God, this is so frustrating. So you got to start to think real quick.
I feel like what will be like the icing on the cake, as per se, would be if she was to go home because of an idol. Like, that will be what, if that happens, I know the fans will riot. But it's purely because, like, Genevieve has done such an amazing job so far with her social game, with her strategic game, and being able to find not one but two idols, and she's not been able to keep them. So it's like, I'm kind of with you, Matthew. I'm just very worried for Genevieve.
Yeah,
because like she's had so much good luck. I'm just waiting to see when the bad luck occurs.
The thing with Genevieve too is she's really an all-around player. She's strategic, she's social, and she's a beast. So it's like, I think she won a bunch of single immunities, right? Her season. I'm right about that, right? I think so.
She did. I believe
she did.
Individual immunities.
Yeah.
She won one.
She won which one? The one that was with the doing those. That was crazy. It was on that island with the colored balls.
That's Rachel.
That was Rachel.
I'm lying. This is why you don't have me on a podcast.
That's everything.
They all blend. Everybody blends. Okay.
Ruin the vibe here.
Take it away. She won one individual. Okay, that's still good. Okay, that still makes her an all-around player. But yeah, okay. Even if she won one, right? She's capable of it. So it's not like you're looking at someone like Rizzo, who's super social and strategic, but hasn't really won anything that great his season.
Is he social?
He's social.
I think he's very social.
Do you think Genevieve made the right choice by giving him the idol?
What?
Do you think Genevieve made the right choice giving Rizzo the idol?
If she wants it back, if she's just thinking that people are annoyed by him. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep. I think so. And if he doesn't, then she knows she has him on her side when she gets there. So it's kind of a win-win anyway, right?
It's a good point.
Sometimes.
I think it's hard to say how Rizzo is going to operate with this idol, because we saw in his season that he held it for so long, but he knowingly held it. And it got to a point where he did use it successfully by not playing it. We have never seen him use it successfully by playing it. Yeah. And so I don't know if it's going to be the same song and dance where he holds it for so long and then ultimately ends up getting voted out with it. And then, the discovery is that, maybe he wasn't even that good with it. He just held it for a long time on his season. And this sort of goes to your point, Tiffany, when someone says, I'm an immaculate Survivor player, you've only played one season so far with
Yeah.
one group of people. Who knows how you're going to operate now that you're playing with a whole new slew of folks, you know?
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah. I feel like if Rizzo tries to do what he did in 49 with the idol, Genevieve's getting her idol back.
I was going to
Because-
say,
Right.
It won't work with returnees.
No, and-
Returnees will literally turn around and be like,
which would be like a successful idol play for him
Mm.
because he gave it back to who needed it, right? So
Well,
Mhm.
he might be successful in our eyes.
I agree with you that I think Rizzo was the right choice. I also agree with Roy, who says I think Rizzo will repeat his idol play since no one has seen his season. I also think Rizzo is so in the mindset of having just played the way that he did.
Right.
I'm not sure if there was enough time to evolve his game. And Kay says if he plays it successfully, our opinions will go up for him. Ollie, do you agree with that?
Mm.
what's the next
don't know.
slide?
Ollie? Bad
Ollie
connection.
doesn't. I'll
Bad
say it for you,
connection over the
Ollie.
wires. Ugh.
Well, I'm
want it moved
excited because I'm not excited, but I'm excited for the conversation we're about to have because now we're entering into the Zac Brown portion of the episode. And let me just say, I think the fact that Jeff was so proactive in preempting who this person was about to be, he listed the entire resume of Zac Brown to make sure that everyone there knew who exactly was about to pull up onto the beach so that they could get the reaction that they were hoping for. I mean, clearly, Dee did not need all of that. Dee was very excited. I'm very happy for Dee to, even have this moment. I know it doesn't work out the way she was hoping it would. But Zac Brown joins the game. Okay. Tiffany, initial thoughts.
Cringier than when Jeff did the whole whatever it was, rapping or whatever you would call that. I literally wrote on Twitter that thank you, Jeff, because I now will post whatever cringy TikTok I am going to post of myself doing whatever. You've given me full permission to not worry about it because that was another level. But this was funny because there were some people who I know had no clue who he was. They were like, oh, some guy with tattoos is here. And Zach, name's Zach, like no idea. Where I would have known who he was because I know this, I know the actual song because me and my son love that song. But I don't know, you're starving out there. Do I want to see this dude come out and play? It was weird. I didn't love it. I thought it was just didn't have a place. It's not Survivor-esque. Like I much have rather have seen like more life on the beach than this because this just doesn't. I mean, I guess it's a little bit of a celebration of other people that showing that big artists love Survivor too. I mean, I guess that's what it was for.
Mhm.
But it didn't hit that great for me. I thought it was strange. We got a lot of footage of that. And it was weird. I thought it was weird. I mean, I'm sure it got a lot of viewers, which might have been also what they wanted. And it was like it's Zac Brown moment. Like, I don't know. I thought it was weird. What do you guys think? I don't know.
Well, I definitely agree that it got a lot of people talking. Even it got in conversation online, which I think is the goal.
Yeah. That's what I always say to everybody who's on Survivor. You're upset that they're talking about you badly, but they're talking about you. Period. And that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Any talk is going to be wildly about you. So they're happy because it wasn't great talk, but again, that's not fair because to be honest, the amount of people that we all know that are big, huge Survivor fans on Twitter and everywhere we watch and we know we're very tiny percentage of who watches this show. I mean, minuscule. So like we are like cringe weird, but the general big population that doesn't do any of the Twitter and none of that, we don't really know how they felt about it. It was viewed, it was watched, and that's all they care about because we're such a tiny part of that community of talkers. It's tiny, but it feels huge to us. But so maybe it was much more liked than we really know. No,
Or like a small fish that's spearfished by that guy. Phil,
did you see that thing that he caught?
True. We'll talk about that. So that's what we have the immunity challenge in between this. So Phil and Ollie, I don't know if you want to give any like preemptive thoughts about this, because we are going to talk about his whole edit after the challenge too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Ollie's ready to go here.
No, I don't want to give him more screen time than Jeff gave him in the episode.
Okay, so
I'm happy to talk a little bit about Zac Brown.
Go for it.
But maybe it's best after. I just think that him getting his own segment was maybe a step too far. I do think it's fun to have this celebrity come out and actually be excited. It seemed like he actually knew some of the contestants. I mean, look, the truth is, I listen to Billie Eilish more than I listen to Zac Brown. I don't listen to either of them all that much, to be completely honest. But I felt like having a whole Billie Eilish boomerang idol, which again, everyone knows the actual full story behind that now. And Billie Eilish is like not at all acknowledging her name branded to something in Survivor at all. I think it was as small as her they sent her a few options and she goes, "Oh yeah, I like the boomerang," was her text back to CBS. And it was probably her team. I think that we're seeing someone who actually knows the game a little bit. I just think that maybe they dipped a little bit too far into his edit when he's getting like confessionals and there's a whole segment devoted to him. But it was a cool
in the water.
It was a cool idea.
It felt a little like selfish, just like a little bit selfish, in my opinion. And I also think, when Jeff was starting this whole introduction and he said something along the lines of, "We're bringing a fan," Jeff said, like, we have a huge fan of the show who wanted to stop by. And you saw the players were like really touched in that moment. They were so excited that like, I think they were thinking a normie, like a normal person who's not a celebrity was about to come experience something with them.
Which would have been awesome.
I agree.
I was waiting for Tegwith.
Tegwith is a great choice. Yep. Tegwith would have been a great choice, although Tegwith at this point is very immersed in the community and has met Jeff and has been out there, so maybe not. But I think that if I was out there and they were saying that there was a huge fan, I thought maybe Sia would have been someone that they brought out. I mean, someone who's been supporting and giving money to the players and all these things, like that would have made some sense to me, but like, you know what I mean? Like she's part of the Survivor community in that way. So that was a strange, maybe missed opportunity, or maybe they wanted her, but maybe she didn't want to do it. I don't know. But yeah, but I agree with you. A regular normie, Tegwith, somebody else who's been applying for 20 years, right? Or hasn't been out there, something like that.
It's funny. If you look at Aubrey's face when he goes, "A longtime fan," I feel like she made a face like, "Aw," because she thought that it was going to be like a regular person.
Yes,
I think so.
And then they were like Zac Brown, and I feel like she was like, "Oh, this is just
weird."
Yeah, it was weird, a little weird, but I do think that she was more excited to have a normal, normie, as some say, than to have a celebrity out there, which is ironic.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the challenge because there's more.
Please.
There's more. Unfortunately, there's more Zac Brown talk.
There's more time to talk about Ollie's favorite segment, and Roy's too in the live chat. So, fun challenge. It's another one that Batu loses. That's fun.
I did like this though. It just felt. I mean, we've seen it before, but I like that there was so many different elements to it. Like
they all have different elements to it.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes like some don't feel like, some just feel like it's this.
Like this felt more connected and not disjointed.
Yeah, like this, like even though there were different elements, it all made sense and it all connected to one another. So that's why I appreciated it. Plus, I was ready for someone to get a block to their head.
I feel like sometimes you have a tribe that votes sometimes you have a tribe that votes off the strong person, and it's like, oh, does it ever really make a difference? And I feel like this is one time where they voted Q off, and Lord, did that make a difference in this tribe? I feel like the losing tribe was so far in the back, it was insane. I don't think they even touched the puzzle. Ollie is shaking his head. I mean, I don't think it's debatable. They were not in it at all.
You're talking about Q, who can't win a challenge on 46 to save his life. Statistically, him and Stephanie were two of the worst performing people when it comes to pre-merge. So
in his previous tribe, but in this season, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that was his first tribal. Like he came prepared, and he was a workhorse, and I don't know. I think that they would have done something a little bit better.
I just agree with Roy.
I see, Roy.
I can tell you, those boats that they're pushing with the bags in them and things like that. That is you cannot imagine. So heavy that it's like I remember it was me, Abraham, Xander, like all of us trying to get on that first challenge, that thing up thing. We were like 1, 2, 3. Everybody gave it. It didn't budge. It's so incredibly heavy that the minute I saw this challenge, we were like, uh-oh. One of them
this was the one with the sandbags weighing them down, right?
Oh, forget it.
In the water.
You know how heavy that stuff is? Yeah, with no energy, it's so incredibly hard. I know it doesn't seem it seems so not, but it is so incredibly difficult. And they were gassed just getting the sandbags out. I was like, oh, they're not even getting through that net. Like that's not happening. And when that happens, it sort of also deflates the whole challenge because now there's not really that much of a thing going on, right? So it's like, oh, they're definitely losing. You see people twirling around in a net, and then you see the other two teams that are definitely going to be safe. So it's kind of like, there we go.
And then as Frank kind of said it in the chat, like, or I can't remember who, someone said it in the chat, but like Jeff had kind of already looked at that tribe to be like, one of you's going to tribal, and like looked at Vasu, and I was like, that's shady, Jeff. And I feel like that could have also demoralized them because you've already got like Jeff looking at them going, you're probably going to lose.
Yeah. It's the worst.
Oh, so you blame Jeff for their loss? Is that it?
I mean, I blame Jeff for a lot of things during this season.
Me too.
But I won't blame him for this. I won't blame him for them losing.
Well, after they crawl out of the net, it is time to talk about the next 20 minutes of the episode-ish. But before we do that, we are going to take a very quick break. Ollie, I'm going to let you decide which commercial we choose.
Let's hear from Bracketology.
There you go.
Welcome to Bracketology, fantasy sports for reality TV. We run fantasy football and bracket-style games for some of your favorite reality TV shows, Survivor included. Here's a quick tutorial on how you can play for free or play to win potentially some cash prizes. Our free-to-play season-long leagues operate just like fantasy football. You're going to want to play Bracketology with friends. You can create a league, make it public or private, or join one of our many partner public leagues. We even have a fantasy football specific style game called the Advanced Game. We have 2 weekly elimination style games, Confidence Pool and Week to Week. Our last game is a first impression bracket. Make your picks of who you think will get eliminated at each tribal all the way down to the winner. New daily prediction pools. You can enter a pool with bucks. Once won from our pool contests are redeemable for real cash prizes. Shout out to the Survivor Now crew. They've been supporting us from the beginning. Download the Bracketology app for free in the App Store. Thank you, Survivor Now, and thank you, everyone, for participating.
All right. So, apologies if that was echoey for anyone else.
That was echoey.
Okay. All right.
I was like, I have no idea what's going on there.
We'll fix that eventually. But now it's time to... Okay. So, this whole Zac Brown thing, there's some positives that I actually do want to say about this. And I'm going to skip to this next slide about like this moment, because some of you in the chat I saw were saying before that the edit was weird. Lengthwise, I absolutely agree with all of you. However, I actually felt that the editors did a nice job with what they were assigned to do here, which was unfortunately something that I know I didn't necessarily appreciate, and it looks like a lot of you also did not appreciate as well. But there was something about this that actually felt like what the Sanctuary was always meant to be, which was an escape from the game, where there was no game talk here. No one was chatting game. And obviously, Zac Brown's presence is on top of that, but everyone seemed like genuinely relaxed. And I think that the editors did a good job with that. That being said, I was checking my phone the entire time during this. I did not understand why we were still here, why we heard a new song, why we heard another song. And then I also liked the Blue Planet stuff. Like, I think that Zac Brown would make an incredible narrator for a Blue Planet or a Shark Week segment. But here, I didn't like.
I just felt like I was made to watch a Zac Brown documentary against my will at this point. That's how I felt. I felt like I was at a concert that I didn't want to be at. I agree with what you said, Matthew, in like how it felt like a reward. Like, I do appreciate that, but I feel like all of the fans on like Twitter and all the socials have said like it just went on far too long, and that's kind of my biggest issue with it. And the fact that he got more confessionals than most people during the episode, which we will talk about later. For me, I was just like, oh, especially as well, because earlier Jeff was like, this is the best reward ever. And I'm like, no, it's not. I was like, I could name 17 other awards that are better than this. But yeah, that's my gripe on it. And I'll stop because I could go on a rant for about 20 minutes, which is how long this segment was.
More. You can go for more. I know you.
I could.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think that it was the worst reward ever, but I certainly do not think that it was the best reward ever. And I think that I remember when he said that, I almost chuckled a little bit, and I was like, okay, come on, Jeff. This isn't real. You know that this is not the best Survivor reward that you guys have ever done in 50 seasons, 26 years. I mean, let's be real here, you know? But again, I think it's, I don't want to, you know, beat a dead horse here. It was extended long past how long it needed to be. But I do think if you think about all the sanctuary rewards that we've had in the past, they're never really that exciting. I mean, we had like the hot dog stand with no condiments. It's, you know, we've seen boring sanctuary before. This one just had Zac Brown there. To tell some of his story. I saw a comment in the comments here. It was a paid sponsorship, genuinely. You know, and that's what it was.
It was an expensive reward, probably, for them. I will say that the water scene was beautiful. I mean, it was gorgeously. I mean, it was unbelievable to watch. I did give Shark Week vibes. It was beautiful. I love the love sack element here, the love sacks that they're all like sitting on. And the part that I think is important that you said, I think, Matthew, was that you did not hear any talk about game. And this is a very good opportunity for players to actually talk game, where they probably felt like, oh, we can't do that right now. You know, like we can hang out with you, but probably talking game right now isn't the right way to do. And if they did, they edited it out, obviously. But, you know, that's a big opportunity for people to be just really bonding and getting to know each other a little bit better in an environment where you're eating and you're not super, you know, deprived. And I think, you know, we missed out on that a little bit, especially in season 50, where I think we wanted to see a little bit of that going on. You got, you know, Colby and Coach, you have big players here. And I think we missed out on that a little bit. Beautiful segment. Love the song. Very nice. I don't know that I'd be laying there crying. I think I'd be laying there thinking about, I want to stick another piece of, you know, swordfish in my face at the moment, but which I'm sure they all did. But, you know, it went on too long, and definitely felt like not the best reward. I mean, a great reward, I'm sure. Yes, I would never say no to it, but the best in 26 seasons, I'd much rather see you go into the local village and play with kids and, you know, get back to the community of Fiji, which has been opening their doors to you for, you know, how many years. And this was just missed the mark for me personally.
Do you all have a favorite reward from past seasons?
The jellyfish during fans versus favorites. Done. Best reward ever.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Anyone else?
Yeah. Mine is sort of random, but I really liked the spaghetti reward in Hero Killers Hustlers, just because I feel like that's one of the first times when I remember there being like overt strategy and reward at a food reward, rather than there's like you know, an advantage hidden there. Everyone's sort of going for it. And it was funny how you saw each person go one at a time and sort of try to disguise the reward. They each get closer. I found that really fun.
Yeah.
But, Tiffany?
What was the one where there was like a tuk-tuk on the beach?
Oh, Cambodia.
That was great. I mean, that was just really super fun and entertaining, and it had everything it felt very Survivor, right? This doesn't. This feels very like I'm on a camping trip with my good friends, and Zac Brown showed up. But that felt very like, I don't know, just really, just silly but fun and excited. Like it was just very Survivor-ish. It's how it really would be when we're out there, you know. This was different, but
yeah, and also beautiful with Keith being involved in that reward as well.
For sure.
I think my favorite was the swimming with whale sharks. I forget if that was Cook Islands or Micronesia, but I thought that was gorgeous. And I was upset. Someone touched one of the sharks, and I said, "Do not do that." But I thought it was a really, really beautiful activity. So then, someone who missed out on this opportunity was Dee, who's a big fan. You know, I did feel bad. Out of everyone who would have appreciated this, it would have been Dee. And, you know, that is what it is. But I think the big, yes, Bill?
I think that this sort of leaves the door open for a great live reunion moment where they have Zac Brown at the live reunion. And oh my God, Dee, you missed out on Zac Brown out on the island, but here he is. Come on up, you know, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's a good opportunity.
Yeah,
it's a personal serenade.
We have a live reunion. Come on.
Also, you know, she did win $1 million, so I'm pretty sure she can do a backstage pass to Zac Brown concert for her brother. Just saying.
Yeah,
no shade. I love Dee, but just saying.
It's true.
Right.
You know, I also think, Phil, to your point, someone please check. When is Zac Brown going on tour? Is it possible that's going to happen? We'll see. All right. So, Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol. Rizzo gets it. We've talked about Rizzo getting it. Yeah, yippee, Rizzo. I do think he's going to play it the exact same way. But then it's time to strategize. Okay, time to scramble.
Yeah.
I forget who the initial target was.
Angelina.
I was going to say.
Why, that was the catalyst for all of this, is that Angelina was the first target, and Mike felt such a need to protect Angelina that he decides to switch it over to Emily. Come on, Matthew.
Yeah, I forgot. I've been in Australia, Phil. I've been in Australia.
Okay. But I will say, because I didn't touch on this at the start. As soon as because Ozzy made it very clear, even at the start of the episode, that Angelina was the target. That made me really comfortable because I was like, my girl's not going anywhere. I was like, I know she's not the target. I was like, you're not making me that obvious, editors. But again, it was this kind of moment, like, where I feel like Ozzy was just not being flexible or adaptable. He was like, I want to do Angelina. We're doing Angelina. I want to go spearfish like Zac Brown. And I was like, go for it. You'll be the one screwing up, but go for it.
Mm-hmm. With you.
Bad move.
He was even after the vote, he was visibly annoyed. And somebody else was left out of the vote. They were upset. He was upset with Emily. He was upset with somebody for not telling him. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, like it's really bad when you are so against somebody that other people want out. Like it worked out for us, but they were my season when Liana wanted Xander and blah, blah, blah. And I switched it over to Voce and because I had a personal thing going on with him that I was mad at. But at the end of the day, like, you looking back, hindsight, when you're that against somebody that everybody's going for, that is such a bad look for you. And it does not normally bode well for you later on. So again, you know, which makes me think that he lasts longer because they kind of really focused in on that. So now that I'm getting savvy with the edits, but at the same time, I would not have pushed that hard and made such a scene, but for some reason they did. Maybe it shows a good, you know, Ozzy stays longer, even though he made himself a target. I don't know. But I wouldn't have, but if I was Mike, I don't think I would have done what he did either. Even though I love Angelina, I don't know that I would have gone that much out on a limb again. Like, I don't know. It's my thought.
Yeah. And I'm with you because Tiffany, the way that he was playing this, I'm talking about Mike. I know Ozzy. I know he switched to Mike. And I think whoever put that chat bubble up on the screen. I think, yeah, he reverted back to his old style of gameplay, and I'm like, no, this is supposed to be Oscar, right? What happened to Oscar? But you know, it is what it is. And then so Tiffany, you don't agree with the direction that Mike chooses to go here. Is that correct? Was it about Emily, or was it just about that he put himself in the firing line?
I think I think that he put himself in the firing line, and I get why he did it 100%. I mean, I know when you're out there, you want your number one with you, and it felt, you know, very targeted to him, and he felt like, hey, wait a minute, you know, in his real life, he is Mike White. It's kind of like, let me see if I can pull this off. Like, I don't blame him for trying to pull it off. I just think it went a little too hard, and yeah, I don't know, rough. Got himself voted off, basically.
For what it's worth, I actually think that this was Christian's worst play all season long. Just to sort of, you know,
I'm with you.
Foretell what I think here. I again, he left 3 people completely out of this plan. One of them went home, but I think Ozzy, you know, Stephanie's in it. I guess Ozzy and Angelina are both going to be very, very against him. And I don't think that Emily is going to slide to his support. We've seen 2 times, one in this episode, where her big concern in this episode was that Ozzy was filled in on the plan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when she talks to Christian here, her, like, you could tell that she has a sense and a care for Ozzy, knowing this is going on. The fact that he didn't is all because of Christian. We literally saw a scene where Emily is spilling and sort of starting to say, hey, Michael wants me out. And Christian's in the back telling her to zip it. It was all such like a visceral, very chaotic scene. Yeah. Sorry to like breeze through the slides here, but
it's all connected.
I just think that like this is going to be bad news bears for Christian. And I think that he did a lot here to enforce his will. And sure, you got to vote off, but you have upset everyone with this very dirty vote. We talk about clean votes again in association with Christian's ideal, you know, headspace to play in. He did the opposite. So I don't think this is going to fare well for him personally. I don't.
Yeah, I do feel like Mike White kind of had a point in the sense of like he was trying, like, as much as Mike White wanted to protect Angelina so much, Christian was trying to do everything to protect Emily, but Emily wasn't really
all in.
Like, yeah, because like she was just like spilling anything. And like for me, if I was Christian, that'd be red flag number 1. We've said no, let's do this. She's gone, no, I'm going to do this anyway. Okay, cool. We know then that we're not going to see eye to eye on this. Probably moving forward, you're still going to want to protect him. Am I going to be a priority moving forward? By then. So I definitely do think, as much as we're looking at like, oh, Mike White's demise was protecting Angelina too much, I feel like we're going to see the same thing with Christian. Christian protecting Emily here could be his downfall later on.
Also, he not only did he vote off a potential number in Mike but now he pissed 2 people off in the interim, and he doesn't fully trust Emily, and Emily keeps spilling on him, right? This is the second time she did something against what Emily's her own person. She beats to whatever drum is going on that day. But she's smart. So she's no fool. She's not going to get caught not saying something. She did not like this whole thing. He really gained more enemies than he did, I think, allies in this one.
Totally.
And could have just been more quiet and just kind of gone on with the plan. And, you know, that would have probably, I think it would have been down the road a little bit better for him. He was very emotional in that moment. I think that was an emotional vote. And, you know, and almost has to be the way he sees it and the way he wants it to play out. And if not, you know, the way he's scolding her in this is just, you know, like, I would be like, middle finger right back at, like, don't point at me like that. Like, are you kidding? You know, that's how I would have said it. Like, that would have been I'd be like, no, you know, when it's somebody saying your name or somebody wants you out, you damn sure I'm going to say who it is and try to like make sure that they know I know. Right. because that blows up the plan. But he's like, no, be quiet because you're going to ruin my plan. Like, that
This
annoys
is
me.
wild behavior. And I have to say, I give Emily a lot of credit for just pretending like it wasn't happening. But I don't think Emily did anything wrong, to your point, Tiffany. It's her name. And I also think that the agreement that she made with Christian quickly was not to tell Ozzy that the vote was changing, not to include him in the vote. And all she did was say that she heard Mike was targeting her now.
Right.
That's it.
And then what happened? Ozzy's little hate was still on Angelina. So it's like she literally could have been like, we're voting Mike, and he still would have voted Angelina. Probably.
Right.
He would have
No
been like,
harm, no foul.
Like, let's just call it how it is. The
Yeah.
men sucked this episode. The women were great. Just saying.
I like that.
I like that as well.
I also want to throw it back to the whole reason why Emily voted Q off in the first place. If you recall, when they all got on this swap tribe, Emily's first impression of Q was, I like Q. Q is fun. He feels like feels like someone that I could play with, whatever. But then she felt like Q was trying to, again, instill his will so harshly on the game. And he said, talking to Q and Stephanie, it feels like they are so close. They want their plan to move forward, and they're not really considering me. I think that eventually, no matter what this, the blood on the clock tower, listen, I follow it all. At the end of the day, Emily likes to be heard. She wants to feel like she's a part of the plan. I mean, who could blame her? And I think that the longer that she feels like, wait a second, these are all just Christian's plans. I am a cog in her wheel. Nothing here is being carried out because I want it to. It's being carried out because Christian wants it to. And again, in this moment, she wanted to tell Ozzy, and she's being pointed at and scolded and told not to. Sure, it might have worked this time around, but eventually, I think that Emily is going to turn on Christian before the other way around. That's it. I'm going to call it here, and I feel very, very confident about it.
Yeah,
I really do.
I agree with you on that.
Jesus,
I have
real serious about that.
But look at this photo. I mean, geez.
Did you stretch it that way, or was that?
No, that's just how it came. That's just really how it came.
So Jay says this in the chat. Jay says, but Christian was doing the plan to vote off Mike to help save Emily, though, right? And Jay, I think that the question that I'm sort of hearing from this is, do you think that Emily owes something to Christian? Is that what you're trying to ask? Do you think that Emily owes something to Christian for the fact that he was trying to protect her in this moment? I'm gonna say no. Not to the extent that I think he thinks he may. I don't. Do any of you have any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, no, I think what they're asking is they said, but Christian was doing this plan to help to vote off Mike to help Emily, though, right? I think that he was inherently he was, but I just don't think that I don't think it came across that way to Emily in the sense of Emily wanting to share the plan with Ozzy. I don't think that it went down the way that she would have wanted it to, but I do think inherently, yes, he did do this plan to help Emily. But I think it was just a little messy. Again, it's a dirty vote.
I kind of agree with Roy Jolly in the chat. Christian did it for TV. There is part, because again, he was 3-2-1. We all know how iconic of a vote that can be. So I do feel like that's what he was kind of going for, and then didn't really think of the repercussions, which will be Ozzy.
Got it. And apologies, Jay. It sounds like that's not what you were asking. So there you go. All good. So let's move on to Tribal Council, which is fine. No fireworks, no nothing. That's all.
No, nothing surprising, right? We all kind of knew what everybody was thinking and what was doing. I feel like was I don't know. I just tribal councils when you get all of that, when you get all of the back information, you're really kind of privy to what's going on in the inner works, right? It's really, unless there's an idol in play or someone's really pulling off something super crazy, it is pretty just standard tribal, right? Nothing is going to be chaotic as can be. Yeah, it could have been Mike, could have been Emily, could have been Angelina, right? But I think we all kind of, at least I knew what was coming. I feel like we all kind of did, right? It was pretty obvious. But it's kind of like the Christian Hubicki show in a lot of ways. I really think that favors the way he speaks. Yeah. that for sure.
Sure, I said
Right.
that.
100%. It is what it is. That's fine. He does. And with that being said, Christian is just really taking the reins over a lot. And it's obvious. And it's performative, a lot of it, but that's what they love about him. Right. So,
Totally.
I guess that's what you're seeing here. I feel like, look, everyone's just looking at him. It's like, everyone's always like, oh, Hibiki, what do you have to say? I really wasn't a huge fan of him the first time I saw him. In the first 2 episodes, I kind of loved him. I was like, oh, I get this guy. But then it went the other way for me again. And I'm like, I don't, maybe I'm not getting it. I don't know.
No, I completely agree.
Survivor really picks weird people to like build up. Like it's never the people I think, like even in real life, I'm like, it's weird. Like some of these people have such incredible personalities, and then they pick these like weird people that become like these iconic nobodies. I don't know how to explain it.
Is it because they see a brand with those specific people?
I don't know how it happens, but sometimes I just feel like they like Carolyn. Okay, you get it. Like,
yes,
you can't help, right? It's almost like there is just no way to tone that down and not make that an iconic person. But like certain people that just get these massive edits and like become these Survivor favorite players is odd to me sometimes. Am I wrong?
I definitely don't think that you're wrong. I think it's exactly what Roy is saying in the chat here. It's a lot of very weird people. He wrote Weird People Rule. And I think that they look at some of these people that just completely stand within a brand of their own, Christian being one, Coach being another, you being another. Like there are just so many contestants, where Emily being another, where it just feels like you can't put them in a box because they are their own character. They're so isolated. And I feel like they love to lean on those people. And Christian, he's also just such a great narrator. I mean,
oh my God.
Like you can just go to him for anything. But I do think that this has been the Christian show. Since episode 1. And I don't think that Survivor's mad about this at all. I think they wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
I agree. They knew exactly what they were doing, and when you have someone like Christian, sometimes you have to take players that are less like that, obviously less good at narrating and better at other things, but to balance it out, right? Because you have this fantastic narrator. But everybody who's ever been on Survivor are really good speakers and are able to command a room if they need to. Most people. They're also super weird, and not all of them, but there is that bunch of people that are super brilliant. Then you have the bunch that are like super strange and different in a good way. And then you have like the really incredibly, smart, like narrator on a dime can give you anything you need, right? We have a soundbite no matter what. But yes, it has felt very, very heavy Christian, Hibiki. And I think you're right. I think it's exactly what they wanted.
Yep, this is the Christian show, but this is definitely not the White Lotus because Mike White was voted out. I know a lot of people were thinking like, oh, maybe he would use the White Lotus leverage cameos to, get farther in the game. I thought Mike did good. For the time we had Mike, I think he did good. I'm glad he's not progressing more into the game just, because he's doing great, but I like that he came to play, and that's something that I applaud.
Yeah. He definitely came to have fun, and that's why I appreciated with Mike. Like he was like, I'm gonna swing big. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Yep. But like he had fun. And I do love the fact, because I think what he did is he left his bag, but he specifically left it for Angelina. And I thought that was just a really sweet moment. Like, do you know what? I tried to save my girl. It got me voted out, but I'm gonna save her in the weather. And I was just like, I love that.
Yeah, they're super close. And I know it had to suck for her so badly out there. I was upset for her. I was like, oh, Mike, everybody loved their dynamic from the first time around. And, you want to see that sometimes. But I think it went as far as it needed to go, I guess. Not super thrilled that he's out. But again, our choices were crappy this time around. So hopefully we don't have this group of people sitting there again, but we shall see.
Especially with a double tribal next episode. I don't
Oh.
know, Tiffany. I wouldn't hold your breath.
I know.
Well, someone was asking in the chat, Lexa, I think it was you. Does anyone think, yeah, there it is. There will be a tribe swap next week. I don't think it's next week because of the double tribal, but you can see another one coming. And I agree that I think one is coming. I hope they go down to 2 tribes if that's the case.
Yeah.
Same.
No. I like the chaos of 2 tribes, and I like the 3 tribes is so incredibly I feel like it's just predictable. Like, right? I feel my season Yasa was not actually predictable. We were predicted to lose, and then we didn't, miraculously. But in most cases it is. And if it's going to be very physical and you're looking at this tribe, I mean, I feel like, we're going to see them again. And lots of airtime, but that's not the kind of airtime you want.
Totally. I agree. Unless you're doing really cool things at the tribal council, right?
That's different.
That's pretty fun.
Different.
Oh, Lexa says you didn't vote for the tribe swaps. Really? I'd love to hear your reasoning why you did not vote for that, but the fans did. But you know what that took? That took a social media presence for you to submit that vote, which I think is the perfect transition into Ollie's segment, which is The Tribe Has Posted. What do you got for us?
I've got a lot. I've got some good stuff happening this week. So for those of you that don't know, this is The Tribe Has Posted, where after the episode airs, I go scour through social media. I look at Instagram, X, TikTok, Blue Sky, Reddit, MySpace, just to see what people have been saying. And boy, have they been saying. The first slide I have, it is a couple of things of a non-50 people, but I felt like it was just, I could not include it. One was Victoria from Edge of Extinction going, once in a lifetime Survivor Awards used to be this, now it's this. And I was just like, honestly, I agreed. And then also our friends at Survivor Fact Checker, Kostas, he does all of the confessional counts and does all the recording. And so I just wanted to bring up the confessional stats because once again, they really did give Zac Brown a good winner's edit for this episode. But we will move on because the next slide, we have the reactions to Zac Brown, which was one from Joe, his Insta story. Absolutely loved it. He was so happy about it. Camilla was very much like, country music? Sanctuary? Okay. And then Rick Devens also assuming that it was going to be Sia. So I think it was Tiffany or one of you mentioned Sia earlier, and I was like, Rick Devens was also there. Rick Devens was on that mindset. Okay, and then we have a load of Christian content because, as we said, it's the Christian show. So he needs a whole slide dedicated to himself. The first one is an Insta story of him and Gabby, letting us know that they're fine, they're still good. She's apologized and he's accepted. And then also Christian basically saying, desperate times call for desperate charades, because that's what he was doing. And then also Stephanie mentions, yes, this actually happened. So much for getting away from my kids to play Survivor. That was funny. And then we have two things from Devens and Camilla. It was a funny one that Devens had put saying, me trying to sleep last night, but I can't, thinking about how Camilla dogged my juggling on national television. And then Camilla rebuttals by saying, I can't sleep at night knowing that Devens bruised the papayas that we were all going to eat. So it was just a funny exchange. Huh?
That was not juggling. So
yeah, I know.
Anyway.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry. Camilla clapped back. Camilla clapped back. And then next, we have Angelina, because Angelina spills tea. This is one thing I love about Angelina. This is why she's my queen. She gives us the tea. So, turns out that Mike and Christian, I forgot his name for a second, they don't really talk anymore. And then neither does Angelina. Angelina and Christian haven't spoken since the season. I'm basically saying they're not really that closer friends, and kind of basically saying why the tribe didn't like her. If you want to, people watching, you can pause this slide to read it all, but I'm not going to go into it because it's a lot. But yeah, basically, Angelina and Christian, they're co-workers. At this point, this is what she is giving us the tea on. They are co-workers. They have played 2 seasons together. That's as much as they're getting. And then next up, we have one thing from Chrissy, which I really appreciated, because as we all know, I am basically a feminist and root for women over men, because men suck. But Chrissy put here, many purple Kellys over the years, but rarely purple Kevins. I know there was not a Kevin with purple hair. It's an observation, but she's completely right. Again, going back to the confessional count, Zac Brown in one episode has had more confessionals than Tiffany has the entire season, and has had more, I think, more or the same amount of confessionals as these 4 women so far. So, Survivor, why are you purpling these women? They're too iconic. How dare you? And then Rizzo throwing some fun shade at Charlie because he's on a bench with a Taylor Swift quote saying, "Did I get it right?" or something. I don't know. I just put it in there. There was that.
Boo.
And then we have one thing from Coach, which was, "I'm still here. Cheers to all you smack talking me people on social media." I'm not doing that. Maybe. And then another funny one from Camilla. It was a reshot. It was a reshare of Kyle's Insta story, basically being like, whenever Camilla is a caller in a challenge, and it's basically her being like a thing. I can't remember what you lot in America call it when you're like a drill sergeant. I think that's the word.
There you go.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Proud of you.
I know what you lot say. And then finally, the little odes to Mike White. You have some from Angelina. You have got Coach's haiku, because if anyone is obsessed with social media like I am, Coach is doing a haiku and an ode to the fallen warriors each episode. So there's that. And then also another one from Stephanie giving some love to Mike White. But that was kind of all the social media things I'd found. But now we're going on to the polls, which is Phil's favorite thing. I post some polls on X, on our X account at Survivor Now Pod. And then this is your chance to answer them and see what the majority has said. So the first poll was, who do you think, it's meant to say won. I just want to clarify. Who do you think won the talent show? Because I apparently didn't do the spell check before I posted it, but oh well, I was trying to post it quickly. Who do you think won the talent show? Thank you. No one, Rizzo, Jonathan and Charlie, or Devons. So Phil, I'm going to go to you first.
I personally thought that Charlie and Jonathan won. I understand they picked Rizzo, but I would have picked Charlie.
Okay. Matthew, what do you think the majority was?
Well, it's for me, it's Charlie and Jonathan. I don't remember what Rizzo did.
Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
It was Charlie and Jonathan.
Okay. And Tiffany?
I would say Charlie and Jonathan, but Rizzo, I think, took it.
Twitter agreed. Rizzo got 40% of the votes here, with Charlie and Jonathan.
Come on, guys.
Second. Trust me, I wouldn't have voted for Rizzo.
It's weird.
The only time I would have voted for Rizzo is to vote him out the game. But moving on to the next slide, which was, what did you think of the Zac Brown reward? Worst one they've had. I've seen better rewards. It was okay, enjoyable, or best reward ever. Matthew, I'm going to go to you first.
I think Twitter said worst one they've had.
Okay. Tiffany?
I would say they said worst one they've had, yeah.
Phil?
Yeah, I would say I've seen better rewards.
That's what I would say.
But X is, routinely negative, so I'm going to go ahead and say worst one they've had.
Yeah.
Worst one they've had, yep, 57%. But 36% said I've seen better rewards. So there were people that were on view. No one voted for best reward, though, which I'm glad. I would have wanted to have spoken to those people. And this was, I'd forgotten about the idol thing with Genevieve. So this was just my petty poll, which was, how do you feel about Zac Brown getting more confessionals than most of the cast? Good, he deserved it. Didn't like it, not fair. I didn't care about it. Tiffany, which one do you think they voted for?
I didn't care about it. I think, I don't know, probably people said didn't like it, not fair. But I'd say I didn't care about it as a person.
Yeah. Bill?
You know, I think he deserved it. He I'm kidding, everybody. I think that I think that they are definitely going to go. Didn't
You
like
sold
it.
that.
I sold it. I tried.
You did. Well done.
Didn't like it. Not fair is what I think that people went with.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I didn't care about it. I'm with Tiffany on that. Especially because like we're gonna keep seeing these players in the next week, so I know I'm gonna keep seeing them. But it definitely did not. It definitely did not put the show in a good light, especially for that episode. So I think people are saying didn't like it, not fair.
Well, funny you all think that because we had a lot of Zac Brown fans clearly vote on this particular poll. I'm lying. Didn't like it. Not fair was the winner at 74%.
You sold that also. Look at me looking like shocked.
Yeah, no one voted for good. He deserved it. I would have had the questions again. But those were the polls. Just a reminder, follow us on X at Survivor Now Pod because we will post them every Thursday after the episode. So you've got about 2 days to go vote for them and then come back here for the results. But that was The Tribe Has Posted.
Oh, thank you, Ollie. Always fun to see what everyone's posting and also to hear all of your thoughts during these for the polls. I just want to thank you all again for joining us in the live chat. Even you, Roy, who was watching a NASCAR race during all of this. I hope that both were very entertaining for you. Tiffany, I just wanted to thank you so much for joining the three of us to recap this episode.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's super fun.
We appreciate you. And Ollie, Phil, as always, is there anything that you want to say?
Well, I know that NASCAR is Ollie's favorite, so he was here missing his favorite NASCAR race. So just really appreciate your dedication, Ollie. And I had a ton of fun, especially with you, Tiffany. You are the best. I feel like you are super entertaining and you know the show. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was super fun.
Go Cars. Go sports.
On that note, we will see you next week for episode 5 recap of Survivor 50. And just gonna shameless plug here. We're also doing Australian Survivor recaps. In about an hour, am speaking to the next person who has been eliminated. No spoilers in the live chat if you've seen the episode for anyone who still has to watch it. But yeah, very excited about that. So make sure if you're not already subscribed that you do subscribe to see more coverage. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you next time.